Hey, you guys, I'm watching the Rubin report and I'm already getting furious about he's giving the analysis, which I agree with everything he's saying, but it just drives home the point of criminal activity. Criminal activity by this Southern Poverty, whatever organization that stifled our free speech. It spread a bunch of hate, racism, lies. Now, this guy is claiming he believes the Trump is a pedophile Epstein files thing. But let me ask you, because he's talking about Charlie Kirk's assassination, did that solve anything? Did that make the world a better place? These people that, however long this has been going on since COVID, where the truth was censored and the lies and the demented, delusional rose to the surface, and it created all these psychos to just who had a weakness, right? A predisposed propensity to go off the deep end type people, unlike some of us who I'm not saying the ones that stick their head in the sand or any of those, but I'm just saying there are some people that are, what is the term, like predisposed to being a little bit on the paranoid side, to being a little bit on the suspicious side. And like I've said, this glorification of you have a mental illness or you have some sexual preferences on who you choose to have sex with, male, female, female, male, whatever. And they're making it something that it isn't. It's not something to fight for. It's you stay in your little corner in the dark and the rest of society will carry on like normal human beings. Okay, so what they've done is criminal. They have perpetuated and incubated and cultivated wickedness amongst people who have a propensity to be radical. And it leads to this. It leads to this psychosis. And like I said in a way earlier video, I think it was in the car driving to Walmart, the children, just like these mercenaries, whatever they are, they put their women and children as collateral, as the hostage, so that you won't shoot them. So they hold the whole world hostage because the whole world is humane and doesn't want to shoot a child or shoot a woman. Or if we happen to, the Jews are the bad guys, we're the bad guys. Propagating and cultivating a reverse victim role where the real victim is wrong and the perpetrator is the victim. Insane. And what I was saying was they're raising children the same as terrorists. They're raising the next generation terrorists. So in my mind, I made a video and I didn't upload it because it seemed kind of heartless, but I really don't care. I'm like, I don't care about those kids. Not that they're brainwashed or not brainwashed. It doesn't matter. Because, they're going to grow up anyway and say, you killed my mama, you killed my daddy. It's like, no, your mama and your daddy were terrorists. They are the next generation. Same thing with these Americans on psychedelic warp speed mode. They're kids, they're training. So whether Trump wins the midterms or not, and even if he gets the full 4 years, society is psycho. And these people, like I was going to make a post. I took a screenshot of the Psalms, and those probably aren't even all of them, where I'm saying in my last video, I pray that they fall into their own pit and their own net and their own trap. And yeah, because, God never told Moses, pray for Pharaoh or pray for the Amalekites. God said, kill them all. I'm not saying to go kill everybody. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that we can pray for the demise of the enemy who is out to kill us, like David. So these people have screwed up. They've assassinated society. And they've screwed up a lot of people. And whether Trump is in or not, society is really crazy right now because they have been encouraged to be, I think I said in a post, they're glorifying suspicion. What's the other word? Where you're kind of guessing, you're gossiping, you are pontificating, you're imagining things that aren't real, and they're propagating that as that's the new truth. Anything you think in your mind is truth is truth. And run with it. Run with it. Anything goes. There's no right. There's no wrong. We've already been through that a few years ago. Anyway, making the case for that, how they're trying to propagate this garbage. So, like I said in a video way long time ago, on my way to Walmart in a car, this is the next generation of Americans and even worldwide, like I've said. And you ought to watch that Islam. I got to stop interrupting myself. One of these days, somebody's just going to, and see, don't think that when Trump is gone, it's going to get better, because they've already embedded the psychosis. They've fed it. They've nurtured it in their own mind because they've been said, it's okay, go ahead, do it that way. And so when Trump is no longer the problem, something else is going to be the problem. And since wacko is now the new norm and the new truth, and they can live how they want, somebody might come up and stab us in the neck just because they want to, like they did the girl on the bus. And then whatever I was going to bunny trail about, but this is Trump. One of these days won't be the problem, and neither will we. Maybe a real nice slimy Democrat will get in office, okay, by cheating. Next. They will continue to perpetuate mental illness and propagate it, meaning they're gonna feed it. They're gonna help it grow and grow and grow and grow. I agree with Ben Shapiro. It's too embedded, too ingrained. It's probably not going anywhere. But I could be wrong, maybe it'll go in reverse. But to me, when you feed that, it's just going to get worse. And plus that, it's 100% Satan. Whether you willingly want to be that way and you feed yourself that, or whether it's just a mental chemical imbalance and you inherited it some garbage. If it's inherited or whatever you want to use a term, that's a little different. That's bondage. When you're allowing yourself to indulge in that stuff and just get more and more. You get more cunning at it, for one thing. Number two, Satan is going to help you, and the demons are going to help you along very, very nicely. They're going to put you in first class and make sure you get real good, straight A about it. And like I said, when Trump is gone out of office, the devil is going to feed their mind. Then they're going to find something else to be psychotic about. But I think that I don't really see how it can get much worse, and then we still are here. But I forgot what I was going to say, but this, delusion, when God puts you under strong delusion because you kept rejecting him. Now, if you're, like I have kept saying over and over, if you're in a bondage and you hate it, you are of a contrite spirit and a sorrowful heart, and you hate whatever problems you're in, that's different. There's mercy. God's mercy is for that. But when you're not sorry, and God is going to put you under strong delusion. And in these last days, I think he's working very quickly with that. He's doing a lot of strong delusion, and there's a lot of apostate happening and reprobate. Once someone gets a reprobate mind, that's undoable. And because God has reprobated you. And then the strong delusion as well. He says, I will give them strong delusion. I don't think anybody can undo what God has done, because only God can judge the heart, and he already knew. He already knew. They kept rejecting truth because they wanted to feed their flesh by propagating lies, propagating all this. But the point is, all this bullshit they were doing, taking all that money to combat racism and KKK and Black Lives Matter and all the hate speech and censorship, and they implemented it. That is what has caused all of this psychosis. It is such a major crime. Major. And I hope that they all get held accountable. Like, look at what's the guy from Facebook, or they got the skinny guy, and one time he had a beard. I know his name, but I just can't think of it right now. And they took him to court because his stuff wasn't censored on the Facebook or whatever his stuff was. And he was liable because of how you can't be irresponsible with stuff like that. And besides, they broke the law by, number one, reversing what that organization was for. Number two, taking the money and doing opposite. And number three, it's a crime to influence people to do bad things and to think bad things, just like what they're doing in Virginia, where that thing was worded weird and nobody could understand, and they voted the wrong way. So that is a effing crime, and I pray to God that they find every single last slimy one of them and convict them with a trial or not. Like the one guy got, I don't remember. Like a trial. I think it was two guys on trial, two famous billionaires with this whatever technology, not Elon Musk, but similar to him, where they, created Google or something, or Amazon. And this is what needs to happen with these people that probably since 2020, maybe even before, how they manipulated the minds. And then after the mind is manipulated, they can start rising up and saying, hey, transgender, we have rights too. No, you have mental illness. The only right you have is to remain silent and go into the psych ward. Or get away from us and get some meds and shut your mouth. We're not this way. Because they were perpetuating it already in the shadows. And then when they felt like they had enough momentum, then they start telling people to start speaking up and speaking out about it. Then it seems like lots of people like, this is normal. Look, it's all over the news. So anyway, I hope you guys get what I'm saying. I know it's a crime what they did, but I think more than just the superficial crime of the money frauding, like the way they did, it should be like they did with those other guys, where they ruined the people, their mind. They caused crimes to happen, like sex crimes, I think, for kids, got picked on, said, go kill yourself, and then the kid would kill themselves, or sex trafficking. So yeah. And that was an independent thing. This is a government thing. And yeah, as far as that money to Israel, and then and you guys need to watch that thing on Islam on my post. You guys, we will not be able to win for losing with Islam. You just go listen to what he says, how they do it. If they have to lie, they'll lie. We already knew that. There was something else that's real tricky with them. But they're tricky. Okay, so, and then what else was I going to say? Something before I bunny trailed on that. Shoot. Anyway, all my posts I post are important. And what these people did was criminal. They need to be held accountable for all the minds and all the lives. And Charlie Kirk now lost his life because of that slime. Because of that crime. A heinous, heinous crime. And I pray with all my heart that they fall into their own pit that they dug for us to fall into. And the trap that they set for us, that they fall into the very same trap and we walk by safely. That the net they hid for us, that they fall into it themselves, going to prison, and yet we walk away free. Now, it doesn't mean there's going to be peace in the world, because this is worldwide. I'm just talking about America here. And all this destroying of Iran, now all the cells in the rest of the world that are letting them in, hopefully they're getting choked off too. It was something along, yeah. So the internal government is so, and I misspoke in the other video. I said Trump and Obama, and I meant to say Biden and Obama. They took all the guardrails off the fraud stuff when they were in office. So look at it. That is a crime. Opening our borders is a crime. There's so many criminal acts that if they happened 20 years ago, oh my gosh, that would be major news over and over and over. And they would have dissected that till the cows came home. But because there's so much debauchery going on, we are getting a little bit conditioned to it. Oh, another school shooting. Oh, another assassination attempt. Oh, another this, another. Yes. It's crazy that we are getting kind of callous, maybe, and not seeing the forest for the trees. And that is that this is so bad. We shouldn't be getting used to it. And all over the world, how do they know? They don't have meetings. How do they all feel the same way and think the same way and like the same things? And how? And it's so polarly divided. How? It looks like separation, when God pulls those tares out before he harvests the wheat. When you tear all the tares out, there's some thinning. It's like thinner. Maybe there's some gaps. There's more room, Well, like when you weed your garden. Then he bundles them. Now, I don't know if all this is simultaneous, but let's just say it's not. And that's not even including the apostates. So he weeds them out. Then he's looking at it. Well, before he harvests it, rapture, he bundles the weeds. First he pulls the tares. They're not weeds, they're tares. First he pulls them up. Then he bundles them. I'm thinking we're getting, not we, the world. The world is getting weeded, like the tares are being pulled up, pulled up, pulled up. That's separating. They're getting put into a pile, okay? Separate, put into a pile. And it's getting thinner and thinner. And we can see now what's what, how many more weeds there are need to be pulled, how much progress we made at the ones we did get pulled. And actually, it's God who does the pulling, the harvester. And before he harvests, he burns them. He bundles them up first, and then he burns them. But that's probably after, that's in the trib, like at the end of the trib, because eventually you're going to have only two sides, the ones that took the mark and the ones that didn't. So that's easy. So those tares that are bundled up in the trib, maybe they're a given that they're going to take the mark. And at the end of the trib, because they'll survive, because they're going to have everything they want because they've taken the mark. They can buy and sell because they're worshiping the beast. Well, they're going to get burned up in the end of the trib. All the Christians that didn't take the mark, they're dead now. Eventually, probably by the time Christ comes back, the second coming, with all of us coming back with him, the ones that got raptured, harvested, we're going to come back with him at the very end, where he puts his feet down on the Mount of Olives and it splits in two. You can find that in those prophets, the Micah to Malachi. And one of those. And so when you read verses that say, oh, well, the righteous will be saved, and if you are wanting to be righteous and for God, you'll be protected, and la la la. And then another verse, I'm going to kill the whole world. And then they translate it. This one Bible says, well, this is the kingdom age. Or this is bringing in the kingdom age, which is the 1,000-year millennium, which is after the 7-year tribulation, when Jesus has come back with all of us and destroyed the Antichrist and Satan with the breath of his mouth. It's all over then. Then we begin 1,000 years. Well, when you read some of these verses, my Bible has some commentary, that one I've been using, and he'll say, oh, this is the kingdom age. This is millennium. I'm thinking, well, wait a minute. It's saying right here in this verse that the righteous are protected. They haven't been beheaded yet, and there ain't no righteous that are going to be protected. So you figure that one out. But whenever you read stuff like that in the Old Testaments, where it's talking kind of both ways, like, you serve God, he's, blessed are you who are living righteously and serving God, because, you're going to be Psalm 91. Okay? But you guys, are you going to be destroyed? La, la, la. I mean, I think there is going to be a time, because Jesus says, one in the bed is taken, the other left, this and that, and the other left, this and the other left. If you see this, don't run into your house to gather anything. Go for the hills. I don't know who he's talking to. But wherever those hills are, we get that saying, run for the hills. That's from the Bible. That's a slang that they got from the Bible. Sometime during the tribulation, and maybe some certain people, maybe only Jews, maybe, I don't know, are going to be kind of protected in a little pocket somewhere, maybe in Petra, Damascus, Jerusalem, something like that, while the trib is going on. For sure, the 144,000 are probably going to be protected somewhere, somehow. So you gotta have to think with your brain and read commentaries if you really want to know. But all I'm saying is when you're reading those and they say this is going to happen to the righteous, they're going to be gold, they're good, but yet this is going to happen to the wicked. You got to remember that in the trib, there's only black and white, beheading or take the mark. So when God says that the righteous and stuff will be protected, you got to realize, is that in the millennium? Is that, you'll have to read and find out what it means, really, because there's really nowhere a Christian can go in the trib. You're going to get killed. You're either going to die of disease, living out in the wilderness. Then there's 5 months if you survive however long before this 5-month thing happens. Maybe it's in the middle, toward the end, something. But for 5 months, some stinger ray things, locusts, are going to be coming around stinging people, and they're going to wish they could die, but they cannot die. They can't even kill themselves. And I don't know if that happens to the people, the tribulation saints. It's probably happening to the people with the mark of the beast. But for 5 months, even if they tried to die, they can't. That's torture. But it's not the whole trib. It's like that. So anyway, I just wanted to point that out. Maybe this commentary in this Bible is correct. I'm retarded, maybe. But to me, it doesn't make sense when he says stuff like that he's commentating. And like I said, he probably chose this commentary. He didn't write it himself, probably. He probably chose it from whatever they're offering, oh, do you like this person's commentary? Do you like this person's commentary? Blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, I like that one. I'll go with that one. I'm going to put my name on this Bible. So whose ever commentary that is, they seem to think a lot of this stuff in those books, Micah to Malachi, they seem to think that is all kingdom age or right before the kingdom age, or it's reigning in the 1,000-year millennium. But as far as I know, the only thing that's going to be standing in the end is the Antichrist and all the people that have the mark, that took the mark, because they've already killed all the Christians. So I don't know where that fits, unless, like Matthew 24 and Luke 17 and Luke 21 and Matthew, Mark, Luke, those chapters that say, when you see this happening, don't run into your house and get anything, just run to the hills, something like that. And woe to those who give suck in those days. Pray that your journey be not in the winter or on a Sabbath. So obviously there's a bunch of people trekking somewhere to go somewhere safe where God is going to protect them. I don't know what those verses mean. And I've never cared enough to really delve in, study commentary, because, like I said, I won't be here. I've never planned on being here. So, but anyway, that's what I think. I think that's a criminal, horrible, heinous criminal act. What they did. Just like those guys that were held accountable on their computer, on their stuff, Facebook, Amazon, whatever those computer things are. They were held accountable for the lives that they influenced. That's exactly what happened with not just this Southern poverty law, whatever. I'm sure lots of organizations. And what's up with this EU and UN? That's where I was going to bunny trail. EU, UN, NATO. I even Googled how much does it cost us to pay NATO, pay EU, pay UN. What do they do for? I found out, I forget which one it is, maybe NATO or EU. We haven't paid them on full this year. We've only paid them such and such millions when we owe them like billions. What do they do for us? But cause us hell on earth and perpetuate the terrorists. What does Israel do for us? And what harm have they ever done to us? Honestly, I think the whole world would be better off if we only it was America, Israel, and Iran. They're the only ones that can be trusted. The other Arab countries, you can't, just like King David with King Saul. King Saul twice, David twice almost killed him. He could have killed him. He didn't almost kill him. He could have killed him. And then he'd wake Saul up, or then he would say, "Hey, Saul, look, it's me." And each time King Saul was like, "Oh, King David, I love you, my son. You're so wonderful. I love you. Come back to me. I want to hug you. I love you. Let's be friends." Blah, 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 blah. But King David knew his track record. That's called a reputation. King Saul had a reputation, and it wasn't a good one. He had a reputation of trying to kill King David when he was a kid, when his demons were coming into his head, and then King David had to play the instruments to calm him down. And then now, later in life, he keeps trying to kill David, and then King David keeps saying, "I could have killed you, and I didn't. I could have killed you here, and I didn't." And King Saul is acting all, "Oh, but yeah, I love you." And then it says, King David, I think it says, maybe I was reading a commentary, but King David's like, "I love him, I respect him, but I know his reputation and he cannot be trusted." Same thing with the Arab countries. It's going to take years. Well, Trump isn't going to be in office for years. So I hope he can do something legally to, I don't know, make sure EU, UN, NATO maybe get cut out until they can prove. Iran and Israel can kind of, thank God Reza, he won't be fooled by any shyster American president. There's no way. No way. You guys, these people know more about games. They know more about common sense that squeezes out all the games. So it's kind of like they're so, they just, and plus that, look at all the narcissistic games they've been under for 47 freaking years of hell. I can curse that. 47 effing years. Well, I'll bet they've learned a lot about psychology. So don't you ever think you can try to pull a fast one on them. It'll never happen again. Never. They are PhDs in psychology right now. PhDs in psychosis, narcissistic, all that. And it's the rest of the Middle East, like this woman from Lebanon, this president, whatever she is in Lebanon, how she will not, she kind of says derogatory things. I haven't heard her, but I've heard that she won't say anything good. I made the post of the, whatever channel it is. They're Jews. They wear the thingies. So it's in the picture there. That video. They're saying she's not saying anything good about Israel. She's actually saying bad things. And she's a Christian. And then they made the point, and sure, it's a good point. She is maybe like, she doesn't know if this is all going to get squared away. So she has to live amongst these people. So she probably is just acting like she's not good with the Jews just in case we don't all win this thing and overpower it, right? That is not the Christian way. No, 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 no. You cannot be afraid of man. She's even surrounded by Sunnis, Shiite in her own government. But I'm telling you, if she's afraid to stick up for the Jews, that is no excuse. If she really truly has a low opinion of the Jews, that is horrible. People in office that don't like and love the Jews do not need to be our allies or anything. And I'm saying we're not in control of that. But I'm just saying, don't get your hopes up that Lebanon, because if you screw God out of faithfulness because you are afraid of man and what man can do unto me, and I'm surrounded by Muslims, and what if this doesn't work out? And, oh, well, you're scared for your life, aren't you now? God doesn't like that. You've got to lay your life down to where you're trusting him with your life. He'll protect you. And who's to say that you're not here for such a time as this? Or who's to say that if you took that stand amidst all your enemies, maybe that gives them the bravery to say, yeah, I like the Jews. Maybe they were being secretive. And it doesn't even matter what they do or don't like in the first place anyway. It's a testing the reins of your heart. Are you going to be faithful to God? Or are you going to be faithful to man? I don't like that woman. I don't like her. I know she's negotiating and she's so amicable and everything. But first and foremost, she is a Christian. And she is talking bad about the Jews. There's nothing good going to come out of that. So it's only America, Israel, and Iran. And if we have to keep giving money to EU, UN, NATO, who are Jew haters and wishy-washy fence riders. See, there's just so much shit, swamp still worldwide. I don't see how. I just hope everybody sees the forest for the trees. So you're not like the frog slowly boiling in the water. And then when the rapture happens and you're too caught up in the world instead, you go, ooh, it was bad. But you're not noticing it. 25, 30 years ago, none of this would have flown. None of this would have been so. Okay, well, that's enough, I guess. Hopefully something can be done about all the money wasted on EU, UN, and NATO. And watch the Islam video. It's very tricky what they do. You might already know some of it, but I don't think you know all of it, because I thought I knew most of it. I didn't know all of it. But you might know, they might, there goes that floaty thing again. And then I got no floaty things in here. So, thank you, God. Thank you, Jesus. I ain't going to thank the devil. And it better not be the devil anyway. So, what was I saying? Yeah, hopefully we can see the forest for the trees. And I don't know what I was saying, but yeah, watch the video on Islam. Watch about the EU and the AU and all that. And yeah, that's a lot of wasted money. And it also funnel into the, well, first of all, it's pay to slay. It pays those families if they kill a Jew. That perpetuates Jew hatred. It also pays the families of anyone who died while killing Jews, meaning they had suicide bombing. It also pays their family once they die. Anyone in prison for killing a Jew gets, their whole family gets money. That's where that EU and UN money goes to. All those families that hate Jews and their religion is to kill the Jew, okay, and the Christian. So I'm pissed. I don't want one penny going there. And I pray to God I get raptured before Trump gets out of office, whether or not EU and UN and NATO still get money to kill Jews. Because I can't stand this place, you guys. It's so callous, meaning, oh yeah, just another. And like Ruben said, what if Trump did get killed yesterday? Where would we be? Yeah, JD Vance is okay, but he ain't no Trump. Nobody's Trump. But in a way, I don't think God is not going to let anything happen to Trump, because God's finishing something with him. And the enemy can't take you out. He has no power to take life. He has to get permission from God. Now, I understand that murders happen and suicide happens. But that's because God allowed it. And it could be before their preordained, predestined death date. Because once we come to earth, we already have God knows when we're coming. That He knows our birth date. And same time He gives us a birth date, He gives us a death date. And the enemy can't take you out with cancer or murder or whatever. You know how some people, they avert murder, or they avert cancer, or they avert a car accident, and some don't. Do you ever wonder why? Well, it's because that person, it was already their death date. Or maybe they kept going out of God's will and they were reprobate. God can still use you when you're reprobate for His purposes, but not for to be blessed. He's just using you as a pawn for something or another. But when He's done with you, and it's before that preordained death date, and you're already on His shit list, He'll let the enemy take you out. He'll let yourself take you out. Or sometimes if they commit suicide, God knows the heart, and I don't believe that everybody that commits suicide goes to hell. I don't believe that. But if they do, and it's before their death date, of course, and they're taking their own life, I think there's mercy and grace for that. Especially if they're saved. It just depends on their bondage. It depends on their heart, things like that. But like as far as, the murder, why do bad things happen to good people kind of deal, and Christians, and my whole family was killed on the way to church by a drunk driver. Okay, yeah, well, that was their death date. And also man has free will. So yeah, that drunk driver had free will to be an ass and drink and drive. But it's up to God whether He's going to allow that evil action, but He also uses bad things for our good. He uses all things for our good. So even that example alone, if it were only to save one soul, and He knows what soul it's geared for, He'll do it. Like the drunk driver might repent and be devastated. Or it could be someone who's hearing the story about it. So, yeah, I'm just saying. Somebody like Trump or dignities, I think, like I said, dignities are different. Dignities are put up in there for God's purpose. And, yeah, I could expound on this stuff, but that's not what this video is about. Okay, well, God bless you guys. And I hope this is the last Trump. Still, 2 or more years, but it may be before then. And there's a lot of garbage. Like I was saying, I hope it's one fell swoop. America could be the example. We're already the example. And the whole world is going to see this massive arrest. I think God's going to do something big with that. And He'll catch them all, and one thing is a domino effect, and it's just going to unravel the whole nasty granny square thing, And and dominoes will fall worldwide too. Whoever was in bed with America is ever here. And it's just a bunch of nasty crap going on. But the mines, I hope that gets punished. What they've done to the mines, making this garbage behavior and mentality truth. But this is the devil's domain, so I guess we should expect that. And the tears, I think, are being pulled up, and they're in the process of being pulled out. Then after that, they're going to be in the process of getting bundled, which the bundling part might be the tribulation, because see, in the tribulation, they're already who they are. They're already going to take the mark of the beast. I think that thing banged open. I don't want it banging open because it'll rip the screen. But yeah, so I don't know when the bundling part is. All I know is when the tears get pulled up, that you can probably start seeing the difference. When the tears, when you start pulling weeds, you can see a difference. You start seeing clearly who's who. Wheat, 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 wheat. It's all wheat. This whole section I've weeded. It's all beautiful wheat. This section I'm doing now, I'm doing this wheat section, weed and tear. Now I'm moving over here to this section, I'm going to tear, and you start seeing the clearer wheat, and you're seeing the tears piling up, okay? And that's right before the farmer, Jesus, harvests. That's another thing I was going to touch on, but I don't know what book it is, but it's in one of those books between Micah and Malachi. Maybe it starts with a Z. It's Zephaniah or Zechariah. And where he's saying something about this, that, and Zerubbabel and something. Well, in that commentary, all three of those names are like a picture of Jesus. In other words, they're not Jesus. No, those people are not Jesus, but they are on behalf of Jesus. Jesus' work. They're resembling and representing Jesus. It is like a future prophecy. It is a picture. It's a picture of what Jesus does. So yeah, Trump. I saw a clip on The View and how Trump thinks he's God, or Trump thinks he's Jesus or whatever. He is like a Jehu. You can read that in the Bible. He's like a Cyrus. But now we have Cyrus. But Cyrus isn't being the Bible Cyrus. But I think it was a pre-prophetic thing when they were calling him Cyrus in Israel and made the coin of Cyrus and Trump. And when he made Jerusalem the capital, I think that was kind of prophetic. Trump was being a Cyrus then, but it was prophesying the real King Cyrus lineage will rise up. That's Iran. That's Reza. So yeah, I wouldn't trust any of these Middle Eastern countries right now. And Iran isn't even Arab anyway. It's Middle Eastern. Well, yeah, I mean, they're Persian. But I mean, I was saying, well, yeah, who is Arab over there besides Saudi Arabia? What are the other countries? They're Syrian, they're Jordanian, but I mean, are they technically Arab descent? I mean, I don't know. But just please, don't get, whatever the term is, I don't think it's callous, but I can't think of the term, but don't get immune to all the, time is going to speed up in the end. It's in Revelation. Time will speed up. That could mean literally, but I doubt it. Nobody thinks it means that the clock is going to start spinning. It just means that things are going to happen quickly, quickly, quickly. Just like from the 1900s to now, or the late 1800s to now, things went so fast. We got a car, we got electricity, we got a plane, we got a helicopter, we got a phone, we got a TV, we got satellites. Everything happened so quickly. When for thousands of years they were riding on horses with no electricity, no telephone, no cell phone, no landline, no nothing. And then all of a sudden, God's like, let's bring it all. Let's bring it all. Bring it all. Bring it all. And then now as we get closer to time ending, more stuff happens, not to mention the technology. You look it up, it increases. First it was every 5 years, then it was every 3 years, then it was every this much. Now it's like, then it was every, like last year or 2 years ago, it was every 3 months. Now it's probably every 2 weeks it gets updated, just technology alone. And then now we have AI. So you guys, time is speeding up. Knowledge also increases. Okay, just don't miss the something for the forest of the trees, okay? Don't start getting immune to this stuff. Pay attention because it means something. It's not here just to be conquered and conquered and conquered and conquered like whack-a-mole. That is part of it. But there's a reason to the madness. There's a method, and it shouldn't be overlooked. And just thinking that, oh, we got to put on our Superman cape, Christian superhero, and whack-a-mole. No, it's also the signs for the prophecies of the end. This will not last forever, okay? Don't have that mindset that you just want to be here forever. This 6,000 years is up. Okay, bye. God bless you guys.